students, welcome to the chemistry class. In our today's class, we will discuss about solution, colloid and suspension. Students, if you remember, you have studied these topics in your classes also. So, basically, these are the types of mixture. So, let us understand this in short. So, the first one, that is solution. So, solution is a homogeneous mixture whose particles are uniformly distributed. Therefore, they cannot be seen by naked eyes. Okay. So, also the diameter of the particles is less than 1 nanometer. So, if we pass the solution through a filter paper, it gets easily passed. So, this was all about solution. Then, talking about colloids or colloidal solution. So, colloids appears to be homogeneous, but actually it is heterogeneous. It has a diameter of ranging from 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. Then particles of colloidal solution cannot be seen by naked eyes, but they are large enough that they can scatter a beam of light passing through it. So, if we pass the colloidal solution through a ordinary filter paper, it can easily pass. But if we pass through a ultrafilter paper, then it will not pass. So, we will discuss about this topic in more detail. But before, we should know that what is suspension. So, suspension is a heterogeneous mixture whose particles remain suspended or undissolved. Also, the diameter of particles of suspension is less than 1000 nanometer. So, therefore, it can be seen through our naked eyes. So, if we pass the suspension through filter paper, it does not pass. So, this was about suspension. Now, talking about colloidal solution means colloid in detail. So, colloidal solution has two components, that are dispersed phase and dispersed medium. So, first talking about dispersed phase. So, the solute-like components which are very fine particles dispersed are called dispersed phase, while the substance in which dispersed phase is suspended is called dispersed medium, like that solvent. So, now talking about classification of colloids. So, on the basis of nature of interaction, that is the first type, between dispersed phase and dispersed medium, colloids can be divided into two parts, that is further classified into two parts, that is liophobic colloids and liophiliccolloids, right? You can say colloid or salts, right? So, the second type, on the basis of types of particles of dispersed phase, colloids are again divided into two parts, that is multimolecular colloids and second is macromolecular colloids. So, now discussing all this topic in detail. So, first is liophobic salts. So, liophobic itself means the colloids that are liquid hating. Phobic means hating. So, the particles of this type of colloids does not have any affinity for the dispersion medium, like that water. Also, they cannot be prepared by just mixing the substances directly. some special methods are required. So we can say that it is not stable and can be easily coagulated. They also need some stabilizing agents for their preservation. Okay. So, and even they are on irreversible salt. You can say this leophobic is irreversible salts. Examples can be gold salt or arsenic sulfide salts, etc. Right? Now moving to our next topic, that is liophylic colloids. So this topic of colloids shows just opposite properties as compared to leophobic salts. So they are liquid loving. Philic means loving liquids. Also the particles have great affinity for the dispersion medium. They can be prepared by mixing the substances, that is by simple method. So we can say that they are stable and cannot be easily coagulated. Then also they do not require any stabilizing agents for their preservation. And they are reversible salts. For example, starch salts or albumin salts. Understood? So now talking about second basis of classification, the first one is multimolecular colloids. So the colloids whose colloidal particles consist of aggregates of atoms or small molecules. Also the diameter of this type of colloidal particles is less than 1 nanometer. Examples are sulfur salts and gold salts. Now next type, that is macromolecular colloids. So these are the colloids whose dispersed particles are themselves large molecules, and these colloids are usually polymers. Examples are natural polymers like that proteins, starch, and synthetic polymers like that polythene. Okay, all these are macromolecular colloids. So now let us discuss about some of the properties of colloidal solution. So the first one is Tyndall effect. You have studied this in your previous classes also, right? So what is Tyndall effect? Scattering of beam of light by colloidal particles is called Tyndall effect. Also the bright cone of light is called Tyndall effect, right? Then bright light is called Tyndall cone. Then the second is Brownian movement. So the colloidal particles move in a zigzag path. This motion or this movement is known as Brownian movement. And this of motion due to the colliding molecules of dispersion medium are constant with the colloidal particles. Now the third properties of electrophoresis. So the movement of colloidal particles under an applied electrode potential is called electrophoresis. Now talking about the fourth and last property, that is coagulation or precipitation. So the process of settling as precipitated is called as coagulation, or also called as precipitation of the solution. So these are two methods that are used for coagulation. First is for liophylic salts and second is for leophobic salts. So first, is coagulation of lyophilic salts. It depends upon the two factors, that is charge and solvation of the colloidal particles. So, when these two factors are removed, then a lyophilic salt, then a lyophilic salt can be coagulated. So example are hydrophilic salt that can be easily coagulated by the addition of alcohol or acetone, and this is due to the dehydration of dispersed phase. But what this type of condition, only a small quantity of electrolyte can bring about coagulation. Now talking about coagulation of lyophilic salts. So when a colloidal salt is mixed with excess amount of electrolyte particles, or the ions of opposite charge are attracted to the colloidal particles, then during this process charge of electrolyte neutralizes. So this is loading to their coagulation. Okay, so this is leading to their coagulation. So there was all about the properties of colloids. Also, students, here we had completed our chapter. So I hope every topic is clearly understood to all. See you in our next chapter, in our next class. Thank you.